thought maybe I'd just do a little bit of a different video. I just wanted to talk about pests in the garden. When I first bought this place, or when we first bought this place, pardon me, this was all grass. Along the fence there was a very narrow garden, and in that garden was basically just a bunch of ground cover. A couple rose bushes up over there, and kind of where I have quite a few plants, it was just rose bushes planted in rows. And the yard was pretty sterile, boring, and it had little life. No animals, nothing really. When I first started digging in the soil, it was very, very hard, compacted clay. If you use like a regular kind of spade or shovel, I really had a hard time breaking through. You need something like an awl or a digging bar. And when I was first starting out and I put the plants in, I would dig and just break through this nasty stuff and try and amend as best I could, and I'd encounter nothing. There was no life. So I got a few plants in the first year. The next year was when I really started. And when the plants that I'd put in the ground, they were completely destroyed by slugs. I cannot even tell you how many slugs were in my yard. Thousands, hundreds. And I used slug bait. And I mean, they were everywhere. Every morning there'd be dozens, huge slugs. Slugs, I guess, really like it here. But over time, you know, I've brought in soil, and I think a lot of it has to do with the mulch, and I've added a lot of plants. It's added habitat, and I've been the birds started showing up in my yard and started hanging out. I mean, you can hear them right now. So the birds came, and the mulch, provides layers, because it's light and airy. When I go and I move stuff, move the mulch around, there's insects. A lot of insects in there, centipedes, all sorts of things, beetles. When I dig in the ground, I'm a few years in here, the soil is a lot easier to work, and now I encounter a lot of earthworms. And the interesting thing is that I have not had to use any slug bait. The slugs are almost completely gone. We used to have more ants, spiders, things like that, and they seem to have decreased overall. But I see a lot of life on this small piece, quarter acre. I look at my neighbors and I just don't see the amount of birds that we have. There's birds in here all the time. We have birds that nest in the yard. We have resident hummingbirds that hang around all year, because there's quite a lot of flowers for them throughout the year, as well as insects. So in a way, even though these are non-native plants, and I know a lot of people have ideas that native plants are the only way to go, these plants have provided food and shelter and habitat for a lot of different animals. I find snakes in here, frogs, tree frogs. I do have water out. The only thing I would say that I'm missing is like a small shallow pond, and I've been thinking about doing that, which would give, especially in the summers here, because they're so dry, having that water source, it really attracts the animals, keeps the frogs close by, the birds like it. I have a bird bath, and I have a fountain that I turn on. The fountain is actually quite interesting, because the hummingbirds and the other birds, actually, they all kind of grip on onto the wall, and they bathe in it. But what I've noticed is, and I don't use any pesticides or anything like that anymore, that things have just kind of started taking care of themselves. And that's a pretty cool thing that you can do that. And I'm gonna say it doesn't have to be native plants. It just has to be plants that do well in your area and that provide some sort of benefit, and the life will come. And you know, I go around and I look at my plants and I never have pests. I never, you know, you don't see leaves all chewed up anymore. The only thing I do have is I do have fruits, and the birds really get into them. So that was about the only thing that I kind of, we kind of get hit. The cherries and all the berries, you really got to cover them. As soon as they start showing color, especially the robins, they're all over them. But you know, I've even seen a mink in my backyard now, which I thought was totally bonkers. He was in here one night. I have cameras back here. He came through one evening, but you know, I get benefit from it, and the animals get benefit from it, and I actually enjoy seeing the life. I think, as you know, as us all being gardeners, we're interested in things other than just the garden. We're interested in just the natural world, and it also develops an interest in weather, believe it or not. So we put this in so that we could have our own private place that we enjoy, and we could just, you know, be outside in a private, secluded setting, and it really provides a lot of benefit mentally and emotionally. It's good. It's just good for your physical health overall to be outside. You know, get a little vitamin D. So anyway, I just thought I'd just give you a few thoughts on what the garden can do for you, and how things change with time. So anyway, hope you're all having a great day. I know I am. The weather's beautiful here today. I think we're about mid-May, and I think they're saying it's gonna be 76, 80 tomorrow. So loving it. Thanks for watching.